Judicial recounts are underway in a handful of tightly contested ridings, which could inch the Liberals closer, but not get them over the line for a majority.
You're getting really close to a very strong government that's going to be able to be led by Mark Carney, that allows the Liberals to really implement their agenda for the next parliamentary session.
We know this process of a recount is automatically triggered when the difference in the votes between two candidates is less than 0.1%. What I'd love for you to remind people of, Lori, is who presides over those counts. There's a lot of misinformation out there on social media right now that it's being done by the government, which just isn't true.
100%. So it's not done by the parties, right? Like this is like important to distinguish between the government in terms of like the government of Canada, and in this case, Elections Canada. Elections Canada is a nonpartisan, independent organization that runs elections and does a superb job of it. And so there's a difference between that and sometimes we talk about the government like the Liberal government or whatever the government is in your province. And there's it's a political government. And so we need to understand that when these recounts happen, there's nothing politicized about it. We are very lucky in Canada to have an incredibly, top class independent body that runs elections. And so that's what's going to happen here.
And they're called judicial recounts for a reason, because they are presided over by a judge and there are people who are overseeing. I want to take a closer look at the other recounts that are currently underway. We have Newfoundland's Terra Nova Peninsula riding. Plus there's those tight races in Windsor-Tecumseh and Milton East, Halton Hill South in Ontario. Why did Elections Canada order recounts in those ridings?
Yeah, so I mean, we see a lot of close races this election. I think we can really see how competitive the parties were in a lot of ridings. It was down to the wire. That's why some of us were up till after 2 a.m. watching the election results, because they were so late. And so in these cases, I think Terra Nova, the Peninsulas, was the closest on election night, in that they were separated by only 12 votes. And so that was one of the ones I was watching go back and forth all night. And so in that case, the recount is automatic because it's within that threshold.
Even if some of these ridings were to go to the Liberals, they will be oh so close, but it will not get them over the edge to a majority. So what are the options then for the Liberals to try and bring over 2 or 3 MPs when they're that close and push them over that finish line to majority? Like, what kind of conversations are happening?
For sure. I mean, like every government wants to be a majority, right? At least most of them want to be a majority. And so when they're that close, it's almost like, oh, we're almost there, right? What could we do? And so there are conversations being had by the Liberals engaging the NDP MPs, for example, who only 7 NDP MPs were elected, and so they have lost official party status. And so, is it possible that a couple of them might come over and sit with the Liberals and then put them up over that majority, get into majority territory? Honestly, I don't think that will happen. It's possible it will. You never know. But usually floor crossing happens when there's some kind of principled issue that the person doesn't get along with the leader or can't support the party on a particular issue, and you can no longer sit with the party. Sometimes if someone does something like they don't want to support the budget, then the government will send them walking anyway. They cross the floor because they have to. Sometimes those sorts of things happen. But I think in this case, it would be a surprise to see any of the people who were elected NDP go to their constituents and say, I'm going to go sit with the Liberals now, even though you voted me in as an NDP. All 7 of them are not, like, none of them is a first-time MP. Someone like Don Davies, he's been there for years as, Bull Reese, like these people have been there as NDP MPs for a long time. So I don't think they're going to just switch now because Mark Carney needs a few more people in order to have a majority.
When we're watching over these recounts, Lori, and I want to ask you this question because a viewer asked me and I didn't have an answer, so I'm going to pass it on to you. Okay, we'll do our best. In the case where the Liberals have won this riding by 1 vote, does that then trigger another recount?
Good question. To my knowledge, it does not, because we can't just keep counting. Like if it's within the threshold, a recount is triggered, they do the recount, that's the result. And my knowledge is that now that's period. That's it. And now, today Cabinet will be sworn in, and then Parliament's going to be recalled on the 26th. And so people have to start getting sworn in as MPs, and we have to do business. And so I think the recount is it.
Yeah, the government needs to sit and get back to business. Lori Turnbull, political science professor at Dalhousie University. Thanks for joining us this morning. If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.